So you want to be a ranger. Hey everybody, it's Luke from Nerdcraft HQ, where I build some cool stuff and paint minis as well, but that's not why we're here to talk today. We're here to talk about playing a ranger in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Now, I should mention that I do run some homebrew rules that might not work for your campaign or your table, and that's fine. You don't have to worry about those or even consider using them. I'm just here to talk about my opinions on playing a ranger in 5th edition. So, let's get started. Additional disclaimer, actually, as a whole, I think the ranger class needs to be buffed. And I don't have all the answers for that, but I will share some of my personal homebrew solutions to my personal problems with the ranger. Well, I'm sure if you watched it, you'll remember this. Although I do feel like I do bring some things to the table in terms of alternatives to certain things. And yes, I do have some very strong opinions about certain classes, but eventually we will get to those. Well, I've had several weeks to think about how I want to talk about the ranger and all of what I feel are shortcomings, but I don't know if I did a great job. There's just a lot of opinions, and the ranger class is so short in the book that I feel like I'm left wanting more, and that's kind of a common theme for this entire ranger video. So hopefully I did an okay job, and hopefully you like it. Let's actually get started. The ranger is like the edgy cousin of the druid, and while you can play either class however you want, there's some obvious differences and some things that might push you towards one direction or the other. I like to think about the features of the ranger and how my character would have gone about learning those. It might be a good thing to consider your favorite enemy right now, or even your fighting style to help you influence the origin story that you're trying to build. Perhaps you were born and raised with druids and you took less to the magic and more to the exploration side. Or maybe you were raised around deadly creatures and it was really necessary for you to learn how to defend yourself and or even go on the offensive against them. I guess my point is that you really probably need some kind of element of danger in order to hone and acquire these skills that a ranger has. Hey, I'd like everyone to welcome back the PHB to our program. And according to the PHB, dexterity, strength, and wisdom are the most important skills for I almost said druid again. Most important skills for a ranger. That's great. I think the big choice there would be to choose whether you want to be a ranged fighter or a melee fighter. And obviously if you want to be a melee fighter, you choose strength, ranged, dexterity, and then wisdom because you are technically a spellcaster. So, yeah, I mean, nice job again, PHB, for that advice. Okay, so right at first level, we know who we like to fight. There are a lot of options for favorite enemies, so I'm actually going to put them on the screen while I continue to talk about them. So, whatever favorite enemy you go with will give you advantages against them, namely advantage on survival checks to track them or intelligence checks to recall information about them. You can also learn a language of your choice that is spoken by your favorite enemy, given they speak a language. And you get to choose an additional favorite enemy at 6th and 14th level. These should probably reflect the types of creatures that you've been facing already in your campaign, which in turn may help you fight in future sessions and against bosses. Talk with your DM if you have specifics in mind, just so everyone is clear with your intentions. This can save a ton of strife down the road. Being a natural explorer, you get a feature called Favorite Terrain, and it can be beneficial to your entire party. You get to choose one type of terrain, and while traveling within that terrain or staying in there, you get a bunch of benefits. One of those benefits is that if you have an intelligence or a wisdom check that pertains to that terrain, then you can double your proficiency bonus when making that check. There are a few more, and to be clear, the book does state to gain those other benefits, you do have to be traveling within that terrain for about an hour. But I will read those to you now. So, if you're traveling within that terrain for about an hour, difficult terrain doesn't slow your party down. You can't get lost except by a sneaky wizard. You're always alert to dangers. If you're alone, so, not with your party, you can sneak at a normal jaunt. Your food foraging bounty is twice as much, and While tracking a specific animal or a creature, you get to learn the size of the creature, the amount of creatures, and when they last passed by. You also get to learn, you also get to have 2 more favorite terrains, one at 6th level and one at 10th level. In my opinion, this might be the best feature of the Ranger, and if I were you, I would lean heavily into this and definitely take advantage of the abilities. Also, if you're the kind of person who doesn't like travel sessions, then this could really bring a fun and credible experience to those sessions for you. In terms of a fighting style, we have covered that before. I would say just make sure that it makes sense for your character. The PHB offers archery, defense, dueling, and 2-weapon fighting for a Ranger, but there are more. I should also mention that the Ranger gets extra attack at 5th level. Again, we've covered that before, so be sure to go check out those videos to learn a little bit more information about those. Spellcasting for Rangers has had a few different iterations throughout the editions, but with 5th edition, I view it more as a supplement rather than use as a core tactic. I think there are a couple of no-brainer spells that every Ranger should take. One of those is Hunter's Mark, the other one is Pass Without a Trace, and as we go further up the ladder, not very far because I only get up to level 5 spells, I think that Lightning Arrow, Locate Creature, and Swift Quiver are all really incredible and kind of, in my opinion, underused Ranger spells. Also, I think that Rangers gain spells too slowly. I can't tell you how to play, and honestly, I don't even have a great permanent homebrew solution that I've either found or made yet, but that's just my opinion. So, in the player's handbook, for whatever reason, there are only 2 options for an archetype. The archetype is basically the subclass. That is Hunter and Beast Master. And while they both have really cool perks, I don't think that the latter stands on its own very well. I have a hot take, and I'm not sure how it's going to go over, but here we are. I think that the Beastmaster should just be a part of the Ranger outfit without having to choose it over something else. I think it should just be a part of the abilities that a Ranger gets by default. And I know that not everyone wants to deal with an animal companion, but for those who don't want to, they could simply just opt out of that option. Given this, I give my players the option to take both subclasses or archetypes and gain all the benefits for both. I know that might sound a little drastic to some of you, but that's just how I play it. I would encourage the DMs out there to try that out with an NPC or maybe a player that you have a lot of confidence in. It might go over really well. And if it's not for you, if it sounds like a horrible idea, don't worry about it. But if you want to play a really, really cool Ranger, I think you know what to do. There are also other archetypes in the other books, but I will leave those alone and not taint that for you. But honestly, I would encourage you to tack on Beastmaster to whatever archetype that you do choose. Or, I guess, in this case, talk with your DM and see if that is a possibility. I don't think it's too overpowered. I've seen it in action, in a campaign, and it worked out pretty well. I know that I've probably sparked rage in the heart of the purist, and that's a good thing. It might even be a good stopping point for this video. D&D is about fun, and I'm going to keep saying that in all my videos because I believe it. And I have fun making these videos, and I just want to thank all of the people who have been very supportive of me in this endeavor. I specifically want to thank Josh Makasoff for joining the VIP section of the Craft House alongside Jessica and Seth. And of course, to all the other wonderful patrons for their continued support. If you've had fun, well, maybe like and share this video. And if you want to keep seeing more, subscribing and hitting the notification bell would be very helpful to you and to me as well. Most importantly, I hope you try and have a good day. Peace out. Toasty in here. It's real toasty in here. Sorry. I'm calling that good, brother. I'm calling that good, brother. I'm calling that good, brother. Good, brother. Good, brother. Good, brother. Good, brother.